Welcome to The Jump. I'm Rachel Nichols. I'll be joined by Vince Carter and Kendrick Perkins shortly, but first, let's talk about yesterday. Sports are so often a mirror for who we are. Sports show us what happens when we work together for a common goal and what happens when we don't. Sports show us the very edges of what the human body is capable of, how high, how fast we can push ourselves, and they show us what happens when the mental strain is just too much. So last night, as our bleeding country reeled from yet another body blow, it was once again sports that had to reflect the moment, had to decide how to move forward, or even whether to move forward at all. In Miami, the Heat and Celtics discussed not playing very seriously. So seriously, in fact, well, hear it straight from Boston coach Brad Stevens.
We just scrapped warm-ups and sat in the locker room and talked. And to be honest, at 30 minutes, I didn't think we were playing. And then coaches left the room, players finished talking and chose to play. So, I called my wife and told her I don't think we're playing. And then, 10 minutes later, we had decided to.
They did indeed decide to play, but first they knelt during the national anthem, a decision that was echoed in Phoenix by a ring of unity from the Raptors and Suns, and on bended knee again by the Clippers and Warriors, several of whom wore T-shirts saying Black Lives Matter. In Milwaukee, they knelt after tip-off. Both the Bucks and the Pistons, on each team's first possession of the game, knelt for 7 seconds to signify the 7 times Kenosha police shot Jacob Blake point blank and in front of his children over the summer. Blake's shooting was once again front and center in Wisconsin after a grand jury failed to indict any of the officers involved. The rationale being that such an excessive use of force was justified. The hypocrisy of that was exposed less than 24 hours later when police in D.C. largely just acquiesced to a group of rioters with guns storming the U.S. Capitol. It was yet another stark reminder of the different set of rules for white people in America versus those of color, a sting that was frankly felt all over the league.
Could you imagine today if those were all black people storming the Capitol and what would have happened? So that to me is a picture that's worth 1,000 words for all of us to see. And probably something for us to reckon with again, no police dogs turn on people, no billy clubs hitting people, people peacefully being escorted out of the Capitol. So it shows that you can disperse a crowd peacefully, I guess, would be the one thing.
It just goes to show the policing system was built against black people, black and brown people. And that's the reason those reactions are different. That's the reason someone can walk or run or bust their way through or whatever into the Speaker of the House office and put their feet on the desk like they're sitting at home on their couch. And nothing happens.
What happened today in particular is nothing but a joke. With everything that's going on, the losses of many African-American lives and the plight of people of color. And then, for these human beings to come out and act like they're being discriminated against because they lost a fair election or that they have to wear masks is a complete joke. Our president-to-be, Joe Biden comes out and says, America, we're better than this. This is un-American. But, to be honest, I'm 20 years old, but I feel like this is as American as it gets. I think today was of my lifetime, probably the biggest flex of white power and white privilege that there is.
We see the two different USAs that we live in. It's sad. It truly is. It's sad. But all in all, we came to the conclusion, look, man, we're going to go hoop. We know what it is. You can't fool us. You're not fooling nobody else. But like I said, it's just sad, man. And everybody sees it. Everybody knows it now. Like, you can't say that you don't understand it.
We just made a decision as a whole just to take a knee. But, my personal opinion, that wasn't enough. I don't think we should have even played. But, we did, and we came together, and we thought taking the knee was appropriate. I would have been all for the league just shut down. I think this was something that definitely should have been addressed. But there's a middle line to it. There's a fine line to it, because it does give some positivity. But I definitely would have been all for if the league shut down today, to kind of just bring light to what's really going on in the world.
This tweet from Cavaliers coach J.B. Bickerstaff, quote, "My 8-year-old little girl told my wife she was scared to go to sleep because of the fear that those bad people in D.C. would come to Cleveland." How many of us spent part of yesterday trying to explain all this to our kids? I know I did. How many of us watched what unfolded on our televisions yesterday with the same sickness in our stomachs that you heard there in Doc Rivers' voice? Sports are a mirror for who we are, and right now we are hurt, and we are tired, and we are broken. But we are also still moving forward. That hope that one day things will be better, sometimes despite years of failure, that is, of course, one of the prime parts of being a sports fan, and a reflection of who we are as humans, too. There is always a chance to turn things around, one game at a time, or in our country's case, one day at a time. Let's see how we do. And now I would like to welcome in 8-time All-Star Vince Carter, 2008 NBA champ Kendrick Perkins. Vince, what was your reaction to the events that took place in our nation's capital yesterday, and how the NBA community once again had to respond?
Painful. It was sickening, disgusting. But I think a lot of these guys said it best. You're seeing the privileges in what you can and what you cannot do, and who can do it and who cannot do it. And once again, hats off to the NBA, all players buying in, coming together for a common goal. It didn't really matter of who you voted for. You seeing everybody come together. I mean, you're just seeing this here, and Doc Rivers said it. And a lot of my friends, we had a conversation in our group chat, and the one thing we said is, can you imagine, look, you see these folks walking in right now. Mm-hmm. You would probably see every one of those bodies on the ground in bloodshed. More than likely.
Perk, I know you feel that way.
Well, I do. And everything that the NBA Brotherhood has stood for and is still standing for, I'm all in with it, Rachel and Vince. And I think, you could tell from the coaches to the players, they were speaking from the heart. And once again, they're using their platform. We didn't hear pregame nothing about basketball. We didn't hear postgame nothing about the performance that they had on the court. They talked about the real life issue at hand. And that's what transpired yesterday at the nation's capital. Here's my problem. And I tweeted this out yesterday, that I blame one person for all of this. And that old saying that came out way before any one of us time, one bad apple spoils the bunch. This is what happened. This is what's happening right now in America. And we was already divided, but now we even more divided. And I hear J.B. Bickerstaff talking about his kid and how they're scared. And all the parents out there in the world that have kids can relate to that, even myself. But past that, I'm scared for myself and the safety for everyone in the United States. Because if you look at the situation, no one could tell me that action, that wasn't planned. And so with that being said, I don't know what else is planned. I don't know what else someone else is thinking to do right now in the next couple of weeks or the next couple of months, or what people are plotting to do to anybody at any given time or any given place in the United States. And my problem that I have with it, I hear everyone saying is, and they're right, that if it was African Americans that was doing that, they would be shot dead, or it would be more bodies or more murders than just 4. But one thing I could say to the